To his home state on an 82-degree afternoon here in Tampa. Some rain this morning, 65% chance of thunderstorms later today. The Buccaneers won the toss, elected to defer, so Connor Barth will get things started. Dwayne Harris back deep for the Giants. Tampa Bay coming off the overtime win in Atlanta. Giants in the third highest scoring game in NFL history. 101 points in all. Lost by 3 in New Orleans. And we are underway in Tampa. Eli Manning and the Giants will start from their 20-yard line. Manning coming off a career-high 6 touchdown passes last week in his hometown.
Yeah, but don't expect the same type of game that you saw last week, the same type of offensive performance that Eli Manning and this group had. This is going to be much different against Tampa Bay. It's going to be more about controlling the clock. The number one thing, ball security. Tampa Bay is very, very good at taking the ball away.
And that's exactly what Eli told us last night. He said, we need to control the clock more this week. Giants had the ball for only 25 minutes in the loss to the Saints. Split backs, Rashad Jennings and the fullback, Nikita Whitlock. On 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. On the slant, deflected and picked off. It was intended for Beckham. Sterling Moore with the interception for Tampa Bay.
That is what this defense thrives upon. There is speed to the ball. If you are not precise in your execution, if you throw behind the receiver and there's a deflection, there are going to be Buccaneer players around to make the pick. It's a slant route from the outside to Odell Beckham Jr. It's behind him. It's deflected. Sterling Moore right there for the interception. Nice job with the patience on the return to let some guys get in front of him as blockers to lengthen the return.
4th home game for the Buccaneers in 3 of the 4 games. The first pass attempt by a quarterback was picked off. It happened to Jameis Winston twice. So Winston and the Bucs start from their 13-yard line of the Giants. On the toss, it's Doug Martin. 4th leading rusher in the NFL, wrapped up by Jonathan Casillas, the ex-Buck, after a gain of 4.
Well, a very emotional game last week as Quan Alexander lost his younger brother just a couple of days before that Atlanta game. And one of the things that came out of that game was the emergence of Jameis Winston as the leader of this team. Now, as quarterback, that is going to be part of your role, of your duties, but he was so passionate about the pregame speech and the way he responded and reacted last week with a win in overtime. He's galvanized this team.
2nd down and 6. Again, it is Martin up the middle. And he fights ahead for a yard, so it will be 3rd down and 5.
Jason Pierre-Paul, number 90. He's going to work both sides. He said, there is nothing that has changed about my game. I can go either side. You see right there his stoutness in the run game. A lot of people talk about his ability as a pass rusher. He is a complete defensive end. He can hold the point against the run.
Bucs must get to the 3 for a 1st down. Winston to the end zone on 3rd and 5. He was looking for Mike Evans, Trevin Wade on the coverage, so the Bucs send out the field goal unit.
Nice response by the New York Giants defense in that sudden change situation. Red zone, down in close. Obviously, you're going to try and maximize your matchup here with that height advantage that Mike Evans possesses over most cornerbacks in the NFL. You can see Jameis Winston right there. He did not give his receiver an opportunity to make a play on the ball.
Jameis says it was on me, so here is Barth, who did not start the season with the Bucs. Re-signed on October 6th, 26-yard attempt. Tampa Bay takes the early lead following the Giants' turnover on the first play from scrimmage. Off the hand of Beckham. Moore with the pick leads to a field goal.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide.
Early first quarter in Tampa. Buccaneers out to a 3-0 lead. Following the early turnover, a rare Giants turnover. They lead the league in turnover ratio.
And you preach it all week long in your preparation against a team like Tampa Bay that thrives taking the ball away. And on the first play, you have a turnover.
A look at early scores. Patriots over the Redskins. How about the unbeaten Carolina Panthers leading the Green Bay Packers by 15. 3-point lead for the Vikings. Saints and Tennessee headed to overtime.
Tennessee playing some good defense in the second half. New Orleans put up 21 quick, and they've responded and held strong.
And now the Giants go back to work from the 20. Manning throwing again on first down. Catch is made and taken out to the 27-yard line by Ruben Randall.
This Giants offensive line starting to hit their stride. Eric Flowers playing very, very well in his rookie year. And really, that guy that just made that catch, that's the guy that we're going to keep our eye on here this afternoon. Ruben Randall still really not able to practice fully with the offense. We'll see if there's an impact with timing and chemistry between he and Eli. But somebody else has to emerge opposite Odell Beckham Jr.
Off the fake to Jennings. Manning fires downfield, again off the hand of Odell Beckham Jr.
Had Nikita Whitlock in the flat quick, but held onto it, trying to get further down the field. The Bucs defense, great performance last week, all centered around Quan Alexander. What he did last week under the circumstances, unbelievable. NFC Defensive Player of the Week. He's going to need his teammates around him again this week. This is, he had to go back for services yesterday to bury his brother. This is going to be another difficult Sunday afternoon for Quan Alexander.
The rookie out of LSU. Go down at 4 with the play clock winding down. Giants get the snap off and Beckham wide open for a first down. The first two attempts that came his way deflected off his hand, but on third down, Beckham gains 16, and now a late flag has been thrown.
Odell Beckham Jr. he felt he was never really down on that play, continued to press and push, and then tempers flared at the end of that.
Cleet Blakeman, our referee.
After the play, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 54. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Levante David.
Giants continuing to work inside routes, coming out of the slot. This is going to be more of the post than the slants, a little bit deeper down the field, getting in behind the linebacker. There are the hits on it. Now, let's see what Levante David does at the end of this. You can see as Odell Beckham Jr. goes to get up, he's kind of roughing him up a little bit there.
So a 16-yard reception and then 15-yard penalty. Manning to the outside, it's Randall, his second catch. Tackled by Alteron Ferner. Ruben Randall gained 7.
Go back and see the end of that previous play. Here's why Levante David got the flag. They're gonna step in immediately and get these flags thrown. They don't want anything like that at the end of a play to escalate.
Shane Vereen in the backfield for the Giants on 2nd and 3. The give to Vereen. The ex-New England Patriot stays on his feet. Terrific second effort. And has a Giants first down to the Tampa Bay 28. And when we spoke to Eli Manning yesterday, we asked him about Shane Vereen. He said we have to continue to find ways to get him the ball.
Well, when he comes in the game, immediately you start to think about the passing game and the matchup issues that he creates there. When he can run the ball effectively like he did on that second down play, that really stresses a defense because you're thinking pass and how do we match up against Shane Vereen?
3 wide receivers set. Dwayne Harris slot to the right. From the 28-yard line on first down. Manning under pressure, gets rid of it. It's Vereen again. So they find a way to get Vereen the football on back-to-back plays. And he picks up another Giants first down.
I really like this right here because you had the whole defense stunting this way, and then you're going to bring the linebacker over the top here, and they had the perfect play call. You've got Shane Vereen into the flat. It's an early option for Eli Manning, even though Quan Alexander is not blocked in their protection. He's got an answer right away in the flat.
Will Tye, the tight end, shifts into the backfield, starting for the injured Larry Donnell today. This is Vereen, third straight play. This time, not much as Alexander comes up to make the tackle.
Well, we've had Tampa Bay several times this season, and we had them, going back into week 3. And one of the people that the coaches were talking about right away early on was Quan Alexander. Here's a rookie linebacker playing the Mike linebacker position, the middle linebacker position for Tampa Bay. There's a lot on his plate, and they were impressed and really kind of blown away by how well he was responding to all the different challenges that position has.
And over the middle, intended for Will Tye, the tight end. Chris Conti helps break it up.
This is an area of the field that you're going to attack, this Tampa 2 style defense. Will Tye is just going to go straight up the field vertical. You're going to try and get it on that inside seam route. Good jump by Chris Conti there in time to be able to knock that ball away.
It is now 3rd down and 9 for the Giants. Beckham split wide to the left.
Dwayne Harris has been a big option in the red zone here the last couple of weeks.
2 second-half touchdowns against the Saints for Harris. Short throw, incomplete, off the hand of Will Tye.
You see right there, Eli Manning getting together with Will Tye. Obviously not on the same page at the top of the route. Little release right here is going to be a check down. He slides outside. Eli Manning throws it. It's a zone, so you want to settle that down in between those 2 defenders and then not move. Declare to the quarterback, this is where I'm going to be. As he slid outside, Eli threw it to where he was.
So here's Josh Brown, perfect this season, 35-yard attempt. And Brown has now hit 20 in a row dating back to last season. A 10-play drive led by number 10. Giants tie the game at 3.
Sponsored by Bud Light. Make the right call. Drink responsibly.
Back in Tampa, Giants and Buccaneers tied at 3. Offensive coordinator Ben McAdoo along with Eli Manning, 4 of 7 on the drive.
Little pass heavy there to start the game. We'll see if they can get this running game established.
Bobby Rainey back deep. He has had a terrific season on special teams for the Bucs. Rainey takes a knee. So Tampa Bay will start at their 20.
Well, he's really gotten into a rhythm here the last 3 games. Again, against the Jacksonville Jaguars going into that bye, they kind of find out exactly how they want to move forward, and they've continued to follow that identity. You can see the numbers that he has put up during this little run here. It's been very, very impressive. He's got a command of the offense. He's got that running game to lean on. A little bit of old school football. It's fun to watch Tampa Bay on offense.
Jason Pierre-Paul on the field for the Giants. At right defensive end. Winston on first down. Good protection. Throws. Mike Evans makes the catch. He's in Giants territory. Evans inside the 30. And he is chased down at the 15-yard line. Tackled by Jonathan Casillas. Officially marked down at the 12. A 68-yard catch and run.
This is a staple in the Tampa Bay passing game. The deep in route, most of the time it is going to be Mike Evans. He's on the outside, he's going to push it up. Now watch Landon Collins go to make a play on the ball right there. Horrible angle on his tracking to the ball, and he's your deep safety help. I mean, he overplays that so badly to the outside, and that vacates the deep middle half of that side.
Longest reception of Evans' 2-year career. First and 10 for the Giants, 12. The handoff to Martin, and he gains a couple.
We'll see if this Giant defense can pop up again. Jason Pierre-Paul out there again on the running game. Can they get another stop here? You had the interception that got him into the red zone early on that opening series. Now they've got the big splash play down the field that puts them in the red zone very quickly again.
JPP returning to his home stadium during his season at the University of South Florida back in 2009. On 2nd and 8 off the fake to Martin. Winston's pass incomplete. He was looking for Evans with Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie on the coverage.
And it's going to be a learning process for Jason Pierre-Paul. Everything he's done so far, tackling, he hasn't really done that in practice yet. He's worked in one-on-one pass drills, but this is all new to him. You heard Laura say this is the first time he's worn that kind of club-type cover as he's gotten ready to play. So, again, every time he's doing things, it's for the first time, and there will be a learning curve.
He has been out for every defensive play so far for the Giants. Third down and 8. Winston able to step in front of Pierre-Paul. There is a flag as he throws to the end zone. Looking for Martin. Penalty marker in the end zone.
There's one right, Jameis. This is one of the things that I see on film with Jameis Winston. Sometimes he's trying to force a little bit in those situations. He hasn't had an interception the last 3 games, but he's been close a few times. This is one of those situations right here. You got to make sure that that defender definitely does have his back to you, because if he gets that head around, you've got an opportunity for a critical turnover with points at stake. We've seen Jason Pierre-Paul trying to work that power rush. This time he's going to go with a little speed, see if he can get up and around the edge on Donovan Smith.
Pass interference. Offense number 84. Penalties decline. Brings up 4th down.
Offensive pass interference is the call on the tight end, Cameron Brate, 84.
Number 10, Connor Barth, in for the field goal.
You saw the collision and the push right there. You remember, Landon Collins has as much right to that spot as Cameron Brate does. Once you extend, you can kind of go in there and have that contact, have that collision, because it's his right to have that piece of property as well, but you can't extend to create separation.
This a 28-yard attempt. Barth hit from 26 earlier. Buccaneers lead 6-3.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. By Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. And by Pizza Hut. Bring home the flavor, only at Pizza Hut.
Back in Tampa, just over 8 minutes remaining first quarter. We've seen 3 field goals after the Giants and Saints set a record with 13 passing touchdowns last Sunday, 14 touchdowns in all. Today we're going for the combined field goals record.
Yeah, why not? Let's change it up a little bit. We said it was going to be a different game, different approach. Let's go after that field goal record this week, Kenny.
In case you're wondering, the record is 9 combined field goals.
We're a third of the way there already.
And it's only taken 7 minutes. Well, we take you back to last Sunday in New Orleans. 101 points scored by the Giants, and the Saints' third all-time league record, 13 touchdown passes, 7 for Drew Brees, 6 for Eli Manning.
A lot of people saying one of Eli Manning's best performances of his career comes up short. Drew Brees was like a surgeon against that Giants defense last week, and you heard a lot of the exasperation from the players. You know, we knew what they were trying to do. We just couldn't stop them. And they had a couple of breakdowns, a couple of mistakes in communication on the back end, but it was more what the Saints were doing well offensively.
How about Eli's comments on Monday? He said, we could have been better. We left some points out on the field.
No, he still shares responsibility for not being able to close that thing out at the end, having to punt that ball.
On 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line, this is Andre Williams pushing the pile forward for a gain of 6 as we head to Los Angeles for a game break. Check in with Mike Hill. Mike.
Hey, Tennessee hadn't won since that Week 1 win against the Bucs in New Orleans in overtime. Marcus Mariota rolls right, goes left. Anthony Fasano, 5-yard score. That's your ball game. Titans win in overtime.
All right, Mike, so the Saints coming off the 52-point effort against the Giants lose in overtime. The Tennessee, they made a coaching change this week. Big hit, and Bradley McDougal lost his helmet as he takes down Williams, who picks up a first.
Let me tell you what, if Andre Williams gets downhill on you, you better bring everything you have to the party. Because this guy, I watch him in pregame each week we've had the Giants. He has the thickest thighs. He has Earl Campbell thighs.
Wow. Second year back out of Boston College.
Go hard, go hard, hard, hard.
From the 32 on first down, Manning to the outside, it's Randall.
Again, this is one of the guys that we're going to have our eyes on here during the course of the game. Ruben Randall still not back at 100%. You know, how is he going to do here out on the field? Got to have somebody opposite Odell Beckham Jr. Take that pressure off him. You should get a lot of one-on-one coverage if the Buccaneers decide to play man.
Giants, of course, still without Victor Cruz, who has not yet played this season. Here's Williams. And Williams stopped in his tracks by Heath Tandy.
And that's what you have to do. You can't let Andre Williams get moving downhill. Get that momentum built up. You got to get him near the line of scrimmage.
Giants now facing a 3rd down and 5. They must get to the 42 for a first. Empty backfield as Vereen motions into the slot. Movement prior to the snap.
Well, Tampa Bay needs to get their defense sorted out right now, because when they motioned Shane Vereen to the outside, they kicked their coverage out. So they took the corner off of Odell Beckham Jr., kicked him out to Shane Vereen, and walked Quan Alexander onto Odell Beckham Jr.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 92. It's a 5-yard penalty, and the yardage enough for a first down.
William Golston.
Going to be on the top of the screen.
If the name sounds familiar to the viewers in New York, his cousin Vernon, former first-round pick of the Jets. So a new set of downs for the Giants following
And a new play
Tampa
clock.
Bay penalty.
Trying to get a new play clock as well. They were down to 12 seconds there as they were coming to the line of scrimmage.
Officials pumped up the play clock. Now we're set. 1st and 10 from the 42.
Three Rockets, save God! Three Rockets, save 58! Three Rockets!
Vereen set up to the left of Manning. Harris in the slot. Manning on 1st down over the middle. There is a flag. A second flag is thrown. Harris, the intended receiver, with Levante David on the coverage.
Well, you can do that within 5 yards. If the quarterback is holding the ball in the pocket, you can knock a receiver down inside of 5 yards, but Levante David was a little bit beyond that. He was more 7-8-ish right there. It's Dwayne Harris coming out of the slot. So there goes your blitz. Little hot route right there. There's the contact. So that's a little bit further downfield.
Pass interference. Defense number 54. The ball we placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
So penalties have hurt the Buccaneers all season, tied for the most in the league with Buffalo coming into the game today. And they have already committed 3. First and 10 from midfield. Williams in the backfield. Manning a punt fake, and now he throws. Catch is made by Harris, and he stumbles forward into Buccaneers territory for a gain of a yard.
Well, you've got that little bubble screen on the outside, but you've got man coverage. So Dwayne Harris right here, watch, he's going to be covered real tight by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They swap that coverage. Eli Manning really has nowhere to go.
Giants send in a new tight end, Jerome Cunningham, 2nd down and 9. Manning over the top, it's Williams. And Williams is tackled at the 42-yard line. So it will be 3rd down and 2.
A nice quick decision by Eli Manning on that play as Alteron Werner is down. He's kind of slid into that nickel roll, that slot corner, but Eli gets the ball to Andre Williams real quickly right away. 2nd and 9. Let Andre Williams square his shoulders, get turned around and go downfield. See how many yards he can get.
So the Buccaneers medical staff tending to Alteron Werner. We'll be back. Kenny Albert, Darrell Johnston, Laura Oatman in Tampa. Buccaneers with a 6-3 lead. Alteron Werner, the injured Buck replaced by Mike Jenkins. 3rd down and 2 for the Giants. Manning on 3rd down, throws, and the catch is made by Vereen, and he picks up a 1st down to the Tampa Bay 34.
A lot of different things for Tampa Bay to think about. Shane Vereen breaking formation. Odell Beckham Jr. in the backfield. One thing they're focused on is getting back to that quarterback and roughing up Eli Manning. But I tell you, they've gotten some good pressure with just their 4. We've seen them add that 5th guy a couple of times, but they're around Eli Manning here quite a bit early with just their 4.
4 flags.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
Tony McDaniel back after missing the last 2 games.
Eli Manning's doing a nice job. You know that this front is going to be heavy on their hands. They're going to be leaning hard, trying to get upfield penetration, rush that passer. He's doing a good job with his cadence, getting them to flinch.
4th Tampa Bay penalty. Williams in the backfield. 1st down and 5. The handoff to Williams. And he takes it down to the 26-yard line for a gain of 3. Alteron Turner back in for the Bucs.
I think he got a little double whammy. Number 1, he's got to tackle Andre Williams, take that blow, and then he's got his own player kind of having a collision with him.
Second down and 2. Manning over the middle. It's Beckham for a Giants 1st down. Beckham stays on his feet and is finally tackled at the Tampa Bay 13. So Giants needed 2. Beckham gains 13.
Working out of the slot here, get him in close. Still, again, we're working that slant, pushing it up. Got a lot of separation right away, so we're allowing that kind of release. We're uptight in coverage, but you're allowing that free release. No press, no jams yet by Tampa Bay at the line of scrimmage.
Beckham started in the backfield, motioned into the slot. 1st and 10 from the Bucs 13-yard line. Empty backfield. Manning steps up, pump fake. Now he throws underneath. And the catch is made by Miles White. His 2nd reception of the season.
It's a good example of how comfortable Eli Manning is getting in this offense in his 2nd season. You know, he's working that trip side when Odell Beckham Jr. broke the formation, got to the outside, and nothing's there. Quickly to the opposite side to Miles White.
11th play of the drive upcoming. From the 10-yard line, this is Williams. Williams tripped up by Danny Lansanis of the Giants, as Eli told us they wanted to do, controlling the clock here in the 1st quarter.
Yeah, well, the big 10-play drive prior to this one, very methodical down the field. And really complete opposite of what we're seeing here. Early on, the Giants, you can see with time of possession on these long drives, Tampa Bay short field with the interception, and then the big splash play down the field to Mike Evans.
Giants empty the backfield again on 3rd down and 5. Now Vereen shifts into the backfield. Manning on 3rd down. Steps up, looking end zone. He throws. Touchdown. Wide open. Ruben Randle.
That is a great job by Eli Manning in that situation. That just shows you the poise and the vision that he has playing quarterback. Under all that duress as he's stepping up, he still is able to find Ruben Randle in that back corner of the end zone. Number 82 lining up right here. Watch, you're going to pass him through the back. Nobody picks him up. He goes to the corner. He's open. Keith Tandy very late getting over there to that side of the field.
Third touchdown of the season for Randle. His 1st in the last 4 games. Josh Brown, the extra point. 10-6 Giants. Late first quarter here in Tampa.
Giants fans, hi everybody. I'm Senior Airman Anthony Hewlett from Albany, New York.
I'm Airman First Class Francis Santiago.
Thank you to my friends and family back home for the support.
And all the men and women of the 366 Fighter Wing. Go Giants!
Go Giants!
It's the NFL's 5th annual Salute to Service campaign, which honors and supports veterans, active duty servicemen and women, and their families.
And great being down here. We had the Paracommandos come in prior to the start of the game on the parachutes. 3 of them come in. A great flyby. Everything coming out of McGill Air Force Base down here in Tampa.
Buccaneers will start from the 20-yard line, but first Los Angeles and Mike Hill.
All right, guys, Rams, Vikings going to overtime. Blair Walsh, the game winner from 40 yards out. Gets it done. Vikings winning 21-18. Vikings now 6-2. Kenny, Moose, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Mike. So with the Green Bay loss, Vikings and Packers both 6-2. Top the NFC North.
Well done, Mike Zimmer up there in Minnesota. He's really turning that franchise around quickly as the head coach.
First and 10 from the 20-yard line. On the toss, it is Martin. And he is chased down from behind. Nice play made by the former Minnesota Viking, Jasper Brinkley.
Really good job. Trust your instincts. Find your way through. Get in the backfield, make a tackle. John Beeson placed on IR during the course of the week. Waneunga not active today, so it's all Jasper Brinkley at the middle linebacker spot.
Steve Spagnuolo without a third linebacker as well. And JT Thomas for the second straight week. Second down and 11. Winston on second down. It's complete. There is a flag. Catch is made by the tight end, Cameron Brate. Von Kennard brings him down.
Prior to the pass, holding defense number 28. It's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
That's Jaron Hosley starting once again for the injured Prince Amukamara, missing his 4th consecutive game.
And one of the things that Steve Spagnuolo talked to us about was not so much just his ability on the field as a corner, not having Prince out there in the lineup, but also his communication. And right away, you don't think of a corner as a guy who coordinates and communicates on the back end. A lot of times that's going to be your safeties, but with Landon Collins being young, Brandon Meriwether being new, a lot of that went to Prince Amukamara. So another thing not there in the back end for the Giants with him out of the lineup.
First quarter comes to an end. Early turnover by the Giants, but they lead 10-6 after 1. We start the second quarter in Tampa. Giants lead the Buccaneers 10-6. And like the New York defense, this Tampa Bay offense continues to play without some key players. Wide receiver Vincent Jackson missing his 2nd straight game, and tight end Austin Seferian-Jenkins his 6th in a row. Ball's out. Ball came loose. Martin fumbles, and it's recovered by Jasper Brinkley of the Giants.
Both of these teams good at taking the football away. The Giants predominantly the interception, the Buccaneers the fumble, and we've got Jonathan Hankins down, one of the big bodies inside. Doug Markin comes in. He looks like he's got it tucked away pretty good. It just slips out. Looked like he had it secured pretty well as he went into the mix.
Buccaneers had committed only 1 turnover the last 3 games. It was Hankins, who was still down, who knocked it away from Martin, and then Brinkley on the recovery.
Sponsored by the Ford F-150. Every other truck is history. By Papa John's, the official pizza sponsor of the NFL. And by DirecTV. Don't just watch TV, DirecTV.
Back in Tampa, Giants with a 10-6 lead. Ali Marpet Buccaneers rookie right guard injured on the last play as well. So the Giants take over on the Tampa Bay 28. Manning's pass is high, intended for Orleans Darkwa out of the backfield.
Lucky to get away with that one. That's one that I know you don't want to take the sack. You're trying to make sure you don't give up that negative yardage, but trying to move to the other side as everything collapses. That's into the middle of the field.
Tampa Bay without safety Bradley McDougal. He's undergoing concussion protocol. Keith Tandy into McDougal on 2nd and 10. This is Darkwa. And he takes it down to the 25-yard line for a gain of 3.
Kind of broke onto the scene in that Dallas Cowboy game a couple of weeks ago. Had an opportunity against New Orleans last week, but nicked up, hurt his back. And we're seeing a traditional cycling in of the running, but this is definitely running back by committee. We've seen Rashad Jennings. We've seen everybody for the New York Giants, Andre Williams, Shane Vereen, and now Orleans Darkwa. Everybody getting their shot on the game.
Now it is Vereen in the backfield on 3rd down and 7. Giants must get to the 18 for a first down. And they do. It's Beckham.
We talk about Shane Vereen coming into the lineup on 3rd downs, passing situations. One of the reasons that Odell Beckham Jr. is able to make this catch is the pass protection. And a lot of that we talk about offensive line, but that was Shane Vereen on a great blitz pickup as well.
And here's Vereen up the middle. There is a flag. Vereen finally brought down at the Buccaneers 4.
Got a couple of
holding.
Tampa Bay.
Offense, number 76. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
That's on the rookie left tackle, Eric Flowers.
Let's go back and take a look at Shane Vereen on the blitz pickup. He's going to step up and real solid in the protection right there. Taking on Levante David. Gets the play right away again. He's gone off to the side of the field. A couple Buccaneer defenders trying to get the attention of the Giants sideline, so might have taken a big hit there on that last run.
Giants backed up, 1st down and 20 following the penalty. On the delay, it's Darkwa. And the Buccaneers finally bring him down at the 13-yard line. So Orleans Darkwa, talked about running back by committee. His 2nd carry. Giants now facing a 2nd down and 6.
Not a lot of wiggle from any of these giant running backs. They are all downhill, shoulders square to the line of scrimmage guys.
Again, it is Darkwa. Darkwa takes it down to the 8. 3rd down and 3 as Vereen checks back in.
And they are going right after the center of this Tampa Bay defense. We've seen 3 plays in a row now. Just huge running lanes inside.
Giants inside the 20 for the 3rd time in this first half. Empty backfield on 3rd down. And he throws, and they pick up the 1st. It's the tight end Jerome Cunningham playing in his 2nd game. Played in the game against Atlanta earlier this season. Then he was placed on the practice squad, re-signed this week.
Actually funny, he was on the roster prior to Will Tye being on the roster, who was the only tight end coming in at the beginning of the week.
And now Vereen is bottled up by Quan Alexander. Giants lost Daniel Fells early in the season, lost Larry Donnell last week at the tight end position. There's Will Tye, who was a teammate of Jameis Winston, started his collegiate career at Florida State before transferring to Stony Brook. And there is the Giants' other active tight end, Jerome Cunningham, out of Southern Connecticut State. Giants without Cruz and Donnell on offense. And a host of injuries on the defensive side. 2nd and goal. Manning, end zone, touchdown, Shane Vereen.
That's just a really good feel, and knowing where to be in his zone defense. There's 3 Tampa Bay defenders all around Shane Vereen, but just a real nice feel, settling down in that softest spot. Eli Manning gets the ball to him right away. There's Will Tye on the outside pushing it up. Here comes 34. You see that little soft spot right there? And ball quickly thrown down and away to Shane Vereen.
So the Giants capitalize on the Doug Martin turnover, the fumble forced by Jonathan Hankins. Shane Vereen on the receiving end of Eli Manning's 8th touchdown pass in the last 6 quarters. Giants drive 9 plays, 28 yards following the Tampa Bay turnover, and now lead the Bucs 17-6.
They weren't fooling when they were talking about controlling the clock today and this being a ball control type game. 31 plays for the New York Giants, only 9 for Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay with a short field following the early Giants turnover, and then a big play, a 68-yard reception by Evans. There is a flag. Rainey. And he is slowed down by the Giants place kicker, Josh Brown. We'll check in with the referee, Clete Blakeman.
This looks like it's going against Tampa Bay. And again, you mentioned it, Kenny. Tied with Buffalo for most penalties.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 45. A 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Tampa Bay.
And it's not just the yardage that goes on to that. It's the play that the penalty negates. I mean, it's going to be Tampa Bay's ball, 1st and 10, outside the 40-yard line, and you need a spark right now. The Giants have really controlled the game up to this point. You get the good return, and it comes back due to the penalty.
Buccaneers lost their right guard, Ali Marpet, the New York native. So he is replaced by Evan Smith, who started the first 2 games at center for the Bucs. From the 10-yard line, following the penalty, as Winston throws, and the catch is made by Mike Evans as we check in with Laura.
You brought up Ali Marpet, Kenny. Right now, the trainer's wrapped his ankle, his foot, pretty stiffly. He's walking that off right now on the sidelines. I'll get you an update on his return status. As for kind of the dueling injuries, Jonathan Hankins also went down with him. He's in the Giants locker room with a shoulder injury. His return is questionable.
All right, thanks, Laura. Ali Marpet has had a terrific rookie season. 2nd-round draft pick out of Hobart, highest drafted Division III player all time. Hobart in upstate New York. Brandon Merriweather and Kerry Wynn in on the tackle. So the Buccaneers now facing a 3rd down and 2 following that carry by Charles Sims.
And well done by the New York Giants rush defense. There's been a lot of question marks about that group since Dallas put 230 plus on them. The Saints didn't really choose that route to get all their points. They went after this defense via the pass, but here's a sticking point for Tampa Bay. As well as they've run the ball this year, they've struggled in some of these 3rd and shorts. Steve Spagnuolo always talks about stealing a possession. Can they force a 4th down here?
It's Winston on the sneak. But the play was blown dead. Buccaneers called timeout with the play clock winding down.
Prior to the snap, Tampa Bay takes its first timeout. This is the 32nd timeout.
So Winston will head over for a chat with offensive coordinator Dirk Cutter. In honor of Veterans Day, for every point scored during the NFL's 32 Salute to Service games, the league will donate $1,000 to its nonprofit partners, the Pat Tillman Foundation, USO, and Wounded Warrior Project. To join the salute and learn more, visit NFL.com/salute. Buzz Aldrin here at the stadium today.
I'll tell you, it's been a great experience. We talk about salute to service in our military, and again, being so close to MacDill Air Force Base, you saw the flyby go by. We had the paratroopers come in. Even Jay Glazer was down here earlier in the week with the guys.
On 3rd down and 1, this is Sims. Charles Sims is close. It will depend on the spot. And now the 1st down signal from Clete Blakeman.
Well, I tell you, if he got that all on his own, because it really looked like the Giants had the penetration they needed. We're going to get the hit in the backfield. Let's see how Charles Sims is able to push this pile. That's good effort. Mark Herzlich coming in from the backside, got him wrapped up, but couldn't pull him back.
Doug Martin on the sidelines following his fumble on the last possession on the slam. Wow, it is Evans, and he took a big hit initially from Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
That's a heck of a job by Mike Evans holding on to that. Takes the big hit from Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie on the catch, and then you've got defensive linemen chasing the ball. So there's the first hit. There's the second hit. I think it's Cullen Jenkins turning and chasing. That's a great job of ball security by Mike Evans.
Second down and 6. Let him go. Winston, loads of time. Now he throws. And the catch is made by Adam Humphries, the rookie out of Clemson, for a Buccaneers first down, a gain of 16.
One of the guys asked to step up with some of the injuries in the wide receiver tight end area for the Buccaneers. Continues to get all the way across, is able to get behind Landon Collins all the way to the sideline.
No Vincent Jackson. Lewis Murphy placed on IR, injured a couple of weeks ago. Sims gains a yard on first down. And a flag is thrown.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 22. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down, Tampa Bay.
Brandon Merriweather.
Here's number 22 on the left-hand side. I don't know, just taking up for one of his teammates.
Off a fake toss to Sims. Catch is made by Humphries. And he is shoved out of bounds by Craig Dahl.
Trying to clean up everything that happens after the whistle around the pile. So Brandon Merriweather, he's got to be smarter in that situation.
Buccaneers on the move. Midway through the second quarter, trailing by 11. 3 receivers set. Humphries in the slot. From the Giants' 33-yard line. A pass off the hands of Evans.
We've had Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie the last couple weeks. He had the big hit in the Saints game that caused the fumble that was actually turned into an interception return for a touchdown to give the Giants the lead late. Had the great game against the Dallas Cowboys. He's been playing extremely well over the last couple of weeks here.
3 interceptions the last 2 weeks for Rodgers-Cromartie, including a touchdown against Dallas 2 weeks ago. As Sims works his way down to the Giants' 25-yard line for a gain of 8. Robert Ayers slow to get up. Ayers, number 91, took the hit from his own man, Brandon Merriweather.
Right on the shoulder.
Ayers returned last week against New Orleans and missed the prior 4 games with a hamstring injury, so he'll head to the sidelines. Giants dressing 8 defensive linemen today, and they've lost 1. Jonathan Hankins ruled out for the game, and now Robert Ayers to the sideline.
It's a humid afternoon today, too. The best thing for the Giants defense has been their offense controlling the game. They're getting thin in that D-line.
10th play of the drive on 3rd down and 2. Evans could not hold on. Rodgers-Cromartie on the coverage.
Rule number 1, make the catch first, right? Then you have an opportunity to run after the catch, but this is well placed by Jameis Winston. Good timing. He's got to make that catch. Great opportunity to extend the drive, have an opportunity to get a touchdown as opposed to lining up for a field goal right now.
So this will be a 43-yard attempt. Connor Barth has already hit from 26 and 28 today from the right hash. Jacob Shump placed it down, and Barth's kick is no good, wide to the right. So the Buccaneers come away with nothing and continue to trail the Giants here in Tampa by 11.
Is sponsored by FanDuel, the leader in one-week fantasy football.
Following the missed field goal, Giants will start from their 33-yard line, leading the Buccaneers 17-6. On first down, Rashad Jennings spins out to the 39-yard line for a gain of 6.
All the running backs, the Giants having success today, and it seems the area they want to go after is right into the middle. Running between the tackles today have been very effective for the New York Giants.
13 running plays split amongst the 4 backs. They've also caught 4 passes, including the Marine touchdown. Second down and 4. It's Jennings. And Jennings picks up the Giants first down out to the 44-yard line.
We talked to Tom Coughlin, and you go against certain styles, and Lovie Smith, a Lovie Smith defense is going to be built around certain things, and it's going to be speed on that defensive side of the ball. They're going to be great protecting the edges and on the perimeter, so trying to attack in the middle. As you see, that first drive starts with the interception, gives the Buccaneers a short field, but since then this offense has been efficient, very fun to watch.
An offense that scored 42 points last week in the loss to the Saints. Manning on first down, complete to Randall in Buccaneers territory to the Tampa Bay 43. Another Giants first down. Randall gains 13.
And being a nice option away from Odell Beckham Jr. Just running around on the outside, gets Ajay Barima to turn those hips a little bit, puts on the brakes.
5th catch for Randall in this first half. From the 43-yard line, it's Jennings. And Jennings gains 2. So you go back to last week, Darryl, the game in New Orleans. On the Giants' last 100 plays, they've picked up 43 first downs, and they've scored 66 points.
And much different styles. And Eli told us about the game plan, kind of hinted at what they were going to do here. Ben McAdoo going to want to control the ball a little bit more. We've seen a short passing game. We've seen all 4 running backs involved in the play here in the first half.
Second down and 8. The screen, it's Jennings. And a nice tackle. Ball came loose, but Jennings was rolled down. Beckham finishing the play, looking to chase down Ajay Barima. One more look.
Well, we talked about Ruben Randall in the passing game, but that is his responsibility. You can see Ruben Randall.
The runner is down by contact. Brings up, second down.
Forearm is down on the ground. That play is over. He is down, but Ruben Randall has been playing well in the passing game. Ajay Barima was his responsibility as a blocker on that screen. If he gets that blocked, that's going to be a nice play for the Giants.
A timeout is taken by the Giants.
First time out of the
They're
half.
first. So for the Giants, who come in with a record of 4-4, first place in the NFC East, Eli Manning told us yesterday, we want to control the clock, and that's exactly what they've done.
And you can't expect them to come out and perform the same way they did last week against the Saints. That was a different game, and it's kind of complementary to the way that Drew Brees and the Saints were playing. You had to keep pace with a fast-paced offense that you were going up against. This one, they wanted to come in, establish their own flow to the game, control the clock, short passing game, get the running backs involved. We've seen them execute that well. Another key thing today, it is warm, it's humid out here. The Giants are already a little thin in their defensive line with some injuries that they've had here early in the game. It's important for this offense to stay on the field. It was one of the concerns that Lovie Smith had. He had 8 guys dressed in that defensive line. The Giants had 8 guys dressed in their defensive line.
Giants facing a 3rd and 9 following the timeout. They must get to the 33 for a first down. Play clock at 2. Giants get the snap away. Manning throws. Complete at the 35-yard line, but not enough to Vereen.
And this is a little bit of pressure. This is nice by the Tampa Bay front. Again, with just the 4 guys getting there and making the quarterback step up. Eli's got to step up.
Now remember last week, the Giants twice on 4th down scored touchdowns. Tom Coughlin leading his offense on the field here instead of attempting a 53-yard field goal. 4th down and 2. And the play is whistled dead as the Buccaneers use a timeout.
Tampa Bay takes its 2nd timeout of the half. This is a 32nd timeout.
A little bit of trouble getting lined up in that situation. Again, it's been that same kind of personnel group, that same formation that the Giants used early and forced another timeout from Tampa Bay when you have Odell Beckham Jr. on the inside of a trips formation, kind of just outside your offensive tackle, and they've been kicking the corner to the outside. That time they had Chris Conte drop down instead of a linebacker coming up to face Odell Beckham Jr., but I think that's a matchup that really favors the Giants. So
the Giants going for it on 4th and 2. Vereen in the backfield, Beckham in motion. Manning on 4th down, throws, deflected. Pass intended for Beckham. So the Buccaneers will take over on downs. Henry Melton getting a hand on it. Odell Beckham Jr. and the Giants turn the ball over on downs, so the Buccaneers will take over at the 35. As Henry Melton got a hand on that last Manning attempt. Sims remains in. We have not seen Doug Martin since his fumble. Robert Ayers back in the game for the Giants. Winston with time, throws, wide open is Mike Evans.
Now that's another area that he has gotten really good. Jameis Winston just recognizing what is there for the taking. Sometimes he pulls it down when there's man-to-man coverage. This time he hangs in that pocket. Jason Pierre-Paul, Donovan Smith has done a nice job against him up until this point, but a lot of time to sit in that pocket, let everything develop, and then find Mike Evans.
25-yard pass play. Evans over 100 yards for the 3rd time this season. Pierre-Paul jumped a little bit early.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 90, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
You see that he's using the left-handed stance now, obviously traditionally a right-handed stance, but with that club on the outside, and he wanted to credit some people, John Blake, who he's worked with when he was away from the facility, and then Robert Nunn, the defensive line coach for the New York Giants, both very, very helpful to him getting comfortable in that new stance.
Winston on 1st and 5. Catch is made by Humphries. And his tackle just shy of the 30 by Casillas. For more on Jason Pierre-Paul, downstairs to Laura.
Kenny, Tom Coughlin told us how much playing time he got today was a field thing. I can tell you doctors and coaches continue to talk to him when he's on the sideline checking in on him. And his answer just keeps being, I'm just warming up. At one point he did holler to me, how are you doing? I said, I'm great, how are you? I just got a huge smile. We know how excited he is to be back.
Thanks, Laura. Buccaneers offense has only been on the field for 21 plays. JPP for 2/3. Get apps, videos, and more at iTunes.com/NFL. 2 minutes remaining. First half in Tampa. There is Doug Martin, who committed the turnover earlier. We have not seen him on the field since.
Might be in the doghouse, Kenny.
Winston rolling right on first down. And Winston takes it all the way inside the 20 to the 18. He picks up a Buccaneers first down, a gain of 12.
He's not going to run away from a lot of people, but he's got a great feel in space. If you play straight man-to-man coverage and leave the middle of the field open, he'll take it. And when you talk about mobility by quarterbacks, sometimes it's just their vision and their feel in the pocket.
Winston under pressure and a late flag is thrown. But Montre Moore again.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 98. At least half distance to the goal line. First down.
Montre Moore roughing the passer against Philadelphia. He was fined. He was in the doghouse, sat out a game 2 weeks ago against Dallas, another penalty last week, and a third here today.
And he's just got to be smarter. He's the other option on the edge for the New York Giants in their pass rush. You can see the explosiveness, but he's just not playing smart.
So Moore to the sidelines. First and goal from the Giants 9. Winston throws underneath. Down to the 5-yard line. Dante Dye.
All half, the Giants defense has done a heck of a job. Once Tampa Bay has gotten into the red zone, they had the sudden change with the turnover, came out, forced a field goal. They had the big play to Mike Evans that got him down there, was able to force a field goal, see if they can do one more time.
Buccaneers have one timeout as we approach 1 minute remaining in the half. On second and goal, Winston to the end zone, and J-Ron Holmesley nearly came up with the pick.
Just didn't get his eyes around quick enough, working with Dante Dye right here. His head is around late, and when he gets his eyes on it, it's already on top of him and doesn't have the ability to react and secure the catch.
So it is now third and goal from the Giants 5.
Mike Evans down here, got that size advantage.
Winston on third down. Looking end zone, starts to run, and he will be tackled just inside the 3.
So you've got Mike Evans on the outside. You've got the bunch away from him. I'm thinking fade, jump ball situation. They bring him inside, and there's your double coverage. You had the safety. Brandon Merriweather was playing safety help over the top. That's easy to cover right there. There's nowhere for Jameis Winston to go.
So now Lovie Smith leaves his offense on the field. He lets the clock run. Buccaneers have a timeout. It is fourth and goal.
He was aggressive with a fourth down call last week against Atlanta. They were not able to convert there, so he has not lost confidence in his group.
Now the Buccaneers use their final timeout. Kurt, what's coming up at halftime?
All right, we've got the best protected halftime show in history. Servicemen and women from the U.S. Army Reserve will join us with Veterans Day just a few days away. We've also got highlights from the early games, and you know it's always fun whenever Terry Steelers take on Howie's Raiders.
And for the first time in a long time, thanks to all of you, I feel completely safe. Thank you.
Back to you.
Well, I guess Kurt does not usually provide that kind of protection.
I think everybody's always on Terry. You know, the whole panel's always after him.
All right, well, Lovie has changed his mind, sends out the field goal unit. This will be a 21-yard attempt. Barth is 2 for 3 today. Shorter than an extra point attempt. Straight through. So the Buccaneers cut the Giants' lead to 8. Yet another penalty committed by the Giants to Montre Moore. 7 plays, 62 yards, but a Giants defense that allowed 7 Drew Brees touchdown passes last week has kept the Tampa Bay Buccaneers out of the end zone today.
They have done a great job in the red zone. It's an important part. As you look at the game afterwards, we always talk turnovers, but red zone defense, 3 field goal attempts as opposed to giving up touchdowns.
Harris will not take it out. 6 seconds on the clock. Eli Manning and the Giants leading 17-9. No punts here in the first half on either side.
It's been crazy this year. We've seen so many strange circumstances. I mean, last week, Atlanta never punted against Tampa Bay. I guess when you play Tampa Bay, your punter's taking a week off.
You don't punt. Giants punter Brad Wing, bit of the unfortunate penalty at the end of the fourth quarter last week, which led to the game-winning field goal. Buccaneers will get the ball first to start the second half. Giants with a 17-9 lead here in Tampa in the return of Jason Pierre-Paul. Time for the Visa halftime report. Kurt, take it away. We start the third quarter here in Tampa. Giants leading by 8. Today's excitement is brought to you by Nissan. Pre-game flyover. Giants with an early turnover, but come back. Manning to Randall. The first Giants touchdown, and then Manning getting Shane Vereen in the end zone. Buccaneers with 3 field goals. Today's excitement brought to you by Nissan. Giants control the clock.
The one thing that they said they were trying to do this week, a deviation from the way the game unfolded last week against the Saints, that was their number one priority. They did a nice job of that. You saw the 7 minutes more time of possession in that first half.
Buccaneers will get the ball first, and Rainey takes it out. Bobby Rainey across the 20. Greg Dahl the tackle out to the 23-yard line. So the Buccaneers find themselves in a much different situation than the last 2 weeks, Darrell, on the road in Washington and Atlanta. They had 17-point leads in the third quarter in both games. Today they trail by 8.
Yeah, and we had that conversation about the range of emotions from the end of Washington to the end of Atlanta. You get to 2020 in Atlanta, and oh boy, here we go again. We're going to blow another big lead. They're able to fight through and come through the other side of that one. I expected more in the first half. When you have that much positive feeling coming out of the Atlanta game, that much confidence. We'll see what they do here to start the second half.
Buccaneers blew that 24-point lead against the Redskins and then beat the Falcons in overtime as Doug Martin returns, his first carry since his fumble. Downstairs to Laura.
Speaking of Doug Martin, I talked to Lovie Smith. He said he made a mistake, but that's not why he went away from him. He said it was just simply a different game, but as we're going to see, he said we're going to go back to him. Offensively, he said no more field goals. We got to get touchdowns. I like where we are, just down 7. Defensively, for Tom Coughlin, he said, I like how we've responded. We haven't let him into the end zone. The biggest thing, JPP said he's rusty. We're going to keep playing him.
All right, thanks, Laura. Here's Winston on 2nd and 5, setting up the screen to Martin. And Martin is brought down at the 29-yard line. Watch the hustle here from JPP.
Exactly, and one of the reasons he's able to play today is because of his conditioning. He's going to go inside on the rip to get to the quarterback, recognizes the screen pass, right down the field chasing. Good job by Devon Kennard to get outside, to hold that edge, force the screen back to the inside so JPP could run it down.
He's been in for 22 plays in his return. First game of this 2015 season. 3rd down and 3. Sims in the backfield. As Winston throws, and it's Mike Evans who picks up a first down out to the 38-yard line.
And, you know, a lot of times it's that first down. We talk about it in 2-minute situations. You come out in that 2-minute situation, and you get into that first down, and then everything starts to click. We'll see what happens with Tampa Bay here to start the second half. They've got that first down. See if they get into a rhythm.
This is Sims. Looks to cut it back inside. And takes it out to the 45-yard line for a gain of 7.
It'll be important to continue to have success in the running game. That's when Jameis Winston functions his best as a quarterback. That play action opens up. He can start to stretch the field vertically.
Winston making his 8th NFL start. After a spin, he hands it off to Sims, who lost the football. It's still loose. There are flags on the field. Winston chasing after it. It's still loose. Officials will try and get to the bottom of the pile. It is Giants football, but there are 2 flags on the field. Trevin Wade comes up with it.
Ruling on the field is a fumble recovery by the defense. We also have holding offense number 84. Penalty decline. First down, New York.
second Tampa Bay turnover.
Charles Sims this time. It's a little fake quick pass to the outside with the draw. Has the ball in the outside arm again. It's just kind of the hand placed right exactly by Jasper Brinkley. He's really had a nice game here, filling in at the Mike linebacker position. He breaks through, gets his hand right on the ball.
So Brinkley recovered the Martin fumble, forces the Sims miscue. Giants now plus 12 on the season, which leads the league. From the Tampa Bay 24. Empty backfield on first down. Batting over the middle. And that pass a bit low, intended for Beckham.
And the amazing thing about that plus 12 in the turnover ratio, being last in the NFL with sacks. And that was the excitement about having Jason Pierre-Paul back. It's amazing what they've been able to do so far this season without that big pressure on the opposing quarterbacks.
Right, only 9 sacks by the Giants defense. Beckham comes in motion. Jennings in the backfield on 2nd and 10. The gift to Jennings, and he found a big hole. Rashad Jennings down to the Tampa Bay 17. Bruce Carter the tackle.
To all these running backs today have been running really physically and downhill.
Bruce Carter makes the tackle, but he's shaken up, leaves the field. Third down and 3. Beckham unable to bring it in. Sterling Moore defending.
Good play on the ball by Sterling Moore. Is going to get on Odell Beckham Jr. quick. It's high, but we've seen him make amazing catches in the past. He looks like he's just about to pull that one in, and Sterling Moore gets a hand on the football.
So here is Josh Brown. Hit from 35 yards out earlier, has connected on 20 straight. This another 35-yard attempt from the right hash. Brad Wing will place it down. And Brown makes it 21 in a row, extending the Giants' lead as they capitalize on the second Tampa Bay turnover.
The day's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Burger King, introducing new Buffalo chicken fries, a better way to Buffalo. By AARP, real possibilities. And by Kay Jewelers, every kiss begins with K.
Giants out to an 11-point lead. First of 2 consecutive home games for the Bucs against the NFC East. Cowboys will visit next week. Giants capitalize following the Sims turnover. Giants have scored 10 points off the 2 turnovers today as Rainey takes it out and will be stopped shy of the 20. Rainey tackled by Jeremy Davis at the 17. Second fumble by a Buccaneers running back today. Giants lead the NFC East. Redskins lost to the New England Patriots today. Eagles and Cowboys get together later tonight in Dallas.
Dallas win puts everybody at 3-5 behind the 4-4 Giants right now. Just continue, week after week, that NFC East just gets more and more jumbled.
From the 17-yard line, it's Martin. Doug Martin out to the 22, gain of 5 with Jason Pierre-Paul taking a break. He's been replaced by his teammate at the University of South Florida, George Selvey, on the field for the Giants.
And let's credit this Giants run defense right now. A couple weeks ago, Dallas putting up 230 plus. No JT Thomas, John Beeson on IR. Wani Unga not active today, so an opportunity for Tampa to get something going in the run game, but they're playing well.
Play action on 2nd and 5. There is a flag as the pass is caught by the fullback, Javorsky Lane.
Yeah, just a nice tiered route for Jameis Winston, and that means you've got a deep vertical route, you've got an intermediate route coming across, and then something shallow.
Offense number 70. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
So the left guard, Logan Mankins, is called for holding. Buccaneers lost right guard Ali Marpet for the remainder of the game. He's been replaced by Evan Smith. There's Mankins, the 6-time Pro Bowler and the leader not only of this offensive line, but one of the leaders of the entire Buccaneers squad.
And one of the guys that Jameis Winston goes to continually for advice, and a lot of times asking him about Tom Brady and his experience with the New England Patriots and what he felt that he did that set him apart as a leader.
Packers face the Giants in 2 Super Bowls, 2nd and 15. As the Buccaneers set up the screen, it's Martin. And then Collins able to bring him down after Martin crossed the 20 out to the 22.
He has good poise in the pocket, and that's a bad snap, and you've got a screenplay going, and you've got Jason Pierre-Paul kind of coming free on the inside, and he's just a cool character, you know, no pressure there, just kind of hangs in there, delivers the screen pass.
Heisman Trophy winner back in 2013, first overall pick out of Florida State. Winston able to get rid of it under pressure, and the catch is made for a first down by Humphries. He's dragged out of bounds by Tremaine McBride after a gain of 16.
Nice job by everybody picking up the blitz. Look at all the pressure coming by the New York Giants at that time. You got a free rusher coming in. Landon Collins, you're able to extend it long enough for this route to develop. Good throw under pressure by Jameis Winston.
4th catch of the day for Humphries. New set of downs for the Bucs from their 38. Play action on first down. Winston under pressure, took a hit as he got rid of the football, and it is dropped by Evans.
That's a huge drop right there. It's underthrown. All the advantage goes to Mike Evans. But let's just take a look at Jameis Winston, how he gets his ball down the field. Hard play action, 3-man route. Here comes Marcus Kuhn. He hangs in there, throws it down the field. Everything goes to Mike advantage. Trevin Wade has his back to the ball, doesn't see it coming in. He competes, he battles, he gets in a position, just unable to make the catch.
Rain is picked up here in Tampa, 2nd and 10. Martin up the middle. Gain of 2, out to the 40. Well, Mike Evans had that big catch earlier, 68 yards, another 25-yard reception. He's over 100 for the day, but 2 plays ago, could have been another big one.
Yeah, you know, opportunities for some big plays out here by Tampa Bay. We go back to that one drive. They had the big kickoff return out to the 40-yard line, had a penalty on that. Mike Evans had a critical drop on a 3rd and short that forced a field goal instead of keeping the drive alive.
3rd down and 7. Bucs must get to the 48. Winston to the outside. Diving is the tight end, Cameron Brate. And he makes the catch for a Tampa Bay first down. Brate slow to get up, gain of 17. We'll take another look.
These are some nice throws to start the second half by Jameis Winston. Not a lot of room right here. You can see great catch by Cameron Brate extending. Craig Dahl is in good coverage, but that's just put in a spot where only Cameron Brate is going to get it, and he's going to have to leave his feet to go after it.
Terrific play made by Brate, who received a game ball following the win over Atlanta last week. Brate out of Harvard came into the game with 4 receptions and a touchdown against the Falcons last Sunday as Brate is helped off the field. We mentioned earlier Buccaneers still without Austin Seferian-Jenkins, who worked out on the field prior to the game, missing his 6th consecutive game. So Brate has become a pretty big part of this Bucs offense. Where we go? 1st and 10 from the Giants' 42. Martin gains 4. Jay Bromley the tackle, 2nd down and 6.
And again, we're just starting to see, you know, this identity that has developed with this offense under Dirk Cutter. And we talked to him, you know, going into the game. You see some things from the New Orleans Saints. Is there anything you can take advantage of? You say, listen, we are not the New Orleans Saints. We're not built that way. That was an empty backfield style of offense with Drew Brees trying to find the best matchup at the line of scrimmage. We'll get into empty like they are right here, but it's not going to be something we do all the time. They stick to what they do best, run the football, play action.
2nd and 6. Winston back to the pocket. Now throws to the outside. It's Evans. Rogers Cromartie to tackle. Just inside the Giants' 35-yard line.
Yeah, sometimes you're working to try to establish a vertical route. There goes Luke Stalker, 82, or Brandon Myers, number 82, on that double move tight end. And Jameis Winston didn't see that, takes a hit at the end of that throw. And there's Joe Hawley taking up for your quarterback. Don't let anybody push him around, but he got off of that, had an opportunity for a nice play down the middle of the field if he would have saw Brandon Myers.
Brandon Myers, a former Giant, now third down and 2. Winston lays one up there, and it is dropped. This time Martin unable to make the catch. So 2 big drops on this drive. First Evans, and now Martin.
Right around that same part of the field, down the right sideline. Boy, puts it right there, right over Jonathan Casillas. 2 opportunities for big plays for the Buccaneers. One to Mike Evans, one to Doug Martin. Can't finish him.
Yet another field goal attempt. Barth is 3 for 4 today. This will be a 53-yard attempt. Season long is 47. From the right hash, Barth from 53. His kick is good. So Barth now 4 for 5. Buccaneers back within 8.
By Fallout 4, the next generation of open world gaming, available on November 10th.
Midway through the third quarter, with the Giants leading by 8, so it's back to a 1-possession game.
It is strange. It does not feel like that. The way that the Giants controlled the football in the first half, you would think that they would create some more separation. But like we see the majority of these games are coming down to fourth quarter games. Looks like we're headed that way here again this evening.
But don't both these teams know it. Dwight Harris on the return. And the rain in Tampa. What a turnaround in the NFC South this season. 3 of the 4 teams have already matched or exceeded their win totals of a season ago.
And I did not see that Carolina victory coming this afternoon. You watched the early shows. Colin Cowherd, he was on that one. He actually saw the ability for Carolina to separate. Green Bay made it close at the end, but another great win by the Panthers.
They're now 8-0. Giants at 4-4 start their drive, and Jennings loses 3 yards on first down.
And looks, we keep showing the weather, how the passing game is going to be impacted by the rain. As the guys are looking back for the catches, you get that rain falling into the face. Who can establish the run game and maintain it here through the rest of this game?
Giants established the run game early. But their lead has been cut to 8. Manning finally throws, and he finds his man out at the 27-yard line. Odell Beckham Jr. for a gain of 10, his 4th reception. It will be 3rd down and 3.
Well, they've got hard play action going. You release your backs into the route. Odell Beckham Jr. was post across the field. He sees Eli Manning moving to his right, just kind of shuts it down, settles into that little soft spot.
The tight end Will Tye for a Giants first down.
That's a nice catch by Will Tye because of the play of the linebacker, you're going to have Levante David thinks he's going to drop out. He's going to extend a hand. He's going to put it right in the throwing lane. Eli Manning just gets it over the top, but it's got to be on the back hip. Nice catch by Will Tye.
From the 42, pass intended for Beckham. And it's deflected away. Sterling Moore had an interception on the first play from scrimmage. And how about Beckham? He's going without gloves as the rain continues to come down here in Tampa. We usually see Beckham with the gloves.
Seen Sterling Moore a couple of times today. There was some really good coverage on the outside for the Bucs too.
On 2nd and 10, here's Jennings. Looks to work his way back inside and is met by Reigning NFC Defensive Player of the Week, Quan Alexander, along with Chris Conti.
It's been a secondary that's been in flux all season long. So we've got Bradley McDougal, who's out of the game in the concussion protocol. That was the strength. It was the back end. Bradley McDougal, Chris Conti playing well. They were going to move Odell Beckham Jr. throughout the formation, trying to create those matchups.
Third down and 8. Giants must get to the Tampa Bay 48. And they do. It is Beckham going gloveless, and he picks up a Giants first down.
This is pretty simple right here. Working from that inside slot position on that trip side, just going to push it up the field as soon as I get enough for the first down. Foot in the ground, back to my quarterback.
Fifth catch for Beckham, who scored 3 touchdowns back home in New Orleans last week. Now Beckham heads to the sidelines, replaced by Miles White. Looked like he had some dirt in his eyes, trying to get it out after his last catch. A new set of downs for the Giants. They had 10 first downs in the first quarter today, only 7 since.
Well, they have done that in the past. You go back to that Philadelphia game, started the game on fire, that opening drive, and then just kind of faded a little bit. That's the thing. Can we stay consistent offensively?
Number 47. Marine. Buccaneers unable to bring him down. Awarded forward progress to the 46 for a gain of 1 as Beckham returns.
And one of the reasons it was kind of silly to talk about, can you match what you did last week? It was such a superlative performance. And you look at those numbers on the left side, it was amazing. And you can see that little tag at the bottom. That's a losing team to put up those kind of offensive numbers. So very different game this afternoon.
6 touchdown passes for Manning. Giants defense scored the other. As this pass is intended for Dwayne Harris, it'll be 3rd down and 9. We asked Eli, did you ever throw 6 touchdowns before in your life? He said, well, I did it in college. But that game went 7 overtimes against Arkansas, and we lost that one as well.
Twice. Throw 6 touchdowns twice in a game and lose them both.
Lost that game 58-56. Back in 2001. 3rd down and 9. His pass is caught. And it's another first down. So Odell Beckham Jr. heating up. He had only 3 receptions prior to this drive. Now has 6 as he gains 12.
Coming from the outside, it's amazing in a 3rd down situation. He's able to find that soft spot again.
Now a timeout is taken by the Buccaneers as Tony McDaniel was trying to get onto the field from the sidelines. With just under 3 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter here in Tampa, the notorious Conor McGregor has taken over this season of The Ultimate Fighter.
They call me an instigator.
What the?
A troublemaker. A wild card and a rebel. So don't miss an all-new Ultimate Fighter Wednesdays only on FS1.
So don't miss it, The Ultimate Fighter. FS1, Wednesday nights.
Some kind of personality right there. Holy cow.
Did you get in the ring with him?
No, none of those guys.
Tom Coughlin might.
He's scrappy, he's gritty, just like his team, right?
That's how he describes his team. Looking to scrap out a victory today. They lead by 8. 1st and 10 from the 34. The fake to Jennings. Adding under pressure from Golston. It'll be 2nd and 10 as we head to Los Angeles and check in with the scrappy and gritty Kurt Menefee.
Well, the You confused me there for a second. The Denver Broncos, I guess, scrappy and gritty, coming back from 17-0 down. Emmanuel Sanders, 64-yard reception from Peyton Manning. It's a 3-point game all of a sudden. Back to the always gritty Kenny Albert.
Thanks, Kirk. Guess we threw him a curveball. Sorry about that,
Sure
Kirk.
did. Swing and a miss.
2nd and 10. High snap. The handoff to Jennings. Not much.
Yeah, the success they had there, they had that little run where they were getting in between the tackles and having some success in the run game. And there's Keith Tandy dropping down. Bradley McDougald's out of the lineup right now, so he's in there at the safety position for Tampa Bay. Drops down in run support, makes a good tackle.
3rd down and 9. Beckham in the slot. Giants must get to the 24 for a 1st down. Pass attack from Beckham, picked off. Manning picked off for the 2nd time today. It's Alteron Werner. Beckham all over him, trying to bring him down. So Werner, who was injured earlier, comes up with his 14th career pick.
Odell Beckham Jr. very upset with himself. He allowed Alteron Werner to beat him to the point on that slant route, and he has been very angry on the sideline during the break.
So terrific field position for the Bucs. They start from the 43. Winston to the outside to the fullback. Dvorsky Lane. Gain of 7.
So we've seen the slant, we've seen the slant, we've seen the slant. Trust what you're seeing. Nice job by Alteron Werner. Yeah, I'm going to beat you to the point. I'm going to undercut that slant. And that's why Odell Beckham Jr. was mad. He allowed him to cross his face, and now you've got to keep your wits about you. You're going to have to make one-handed catches if you hit that jug and it's full.
Beckham not happy as the Giants turn it over for the 2nd time. 2nd down and 5 on the toss. It's Martin. And he's close to a 1st down. Coming into this game, Manning had thrown only 4 interceptions all season. Buccaneers had only 4 picks on defense. 2 today. Sterling Moore and now Werner.
Bad location on the first one. Great defensive play. Trusting what you've seen in your film study, and then also understanding what they're doing today. A lot of inside routes by the New York Giants from some of these formations, and he trusted that, and he jumped it.
Jason Pierre-Paul not on the field. This set of downs for the Bucs. Winston fires downfield looking for Evans. And he overthrows him.
Mike Evans working on the outside there. He's bottom of the screen. Going to be a little double move. Not a real good sell. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie all over that one. You got to give a little bit more of a lean on the outside, and to get the ball downfield that long, you got to hold it a little bit. Jay Bromley coming in and getting a late hit on him.
Now JPP back out on the field. 2nd and 10. Final minute, 3rd quarter. Sims replaces Martin in the backfield. And the Giants had only 10 men on the field, so they will use a timeout.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've had a couple things. We've had a couple clock issues here today. Tampa Bay's had to burn a few timeouts. Now the Giants have to burn a timeout because they've only got 10 on the field. Those are the things that'll drive Lovie Smith and Tom Coughlin crazy. I mean, we talked about how these games go down to the final minute. Timeouts are very important at the end of the game.
Each team with 2 remaining. Giants with an 8-point lead. Some early game headlines. New England Patriots remain perfect. 8-0 on the season. Panthers 8-0 as well, following their big win over the Packers. Titans win for the first time since week 1 over the Bucs. And how about Ben Roethlisberger suffers yet another injury?
We've seen the impact of him not in the lineup. It's a different team without Ben Roethlisberger.
Winston on 2nd and 10 throws, and it is Evans who makes the catch. Well, now it's ruled an incompletion. Evans unable to maintain control. Defended by Landon Collins.
Sliding to his left, loses his balance, but still has the ability. Throws a nice ball right there for Mike Evans to catch.
That looked like it hit the ground briefly, and then he locked it up between his knees.
Yep, there it goes, onto the ground right there.
So no catch. 3rd down and 10. Buccaneers have been held out of the end zone today. They have 4 field goals. Winston steps up under pressure on 3rd down. He falls, and Evans unable to make the catch. No flags. Again, Rogers Cromartie on the coverage, and Winston took a hard hit from Devon Kennard as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jameis Winston stood in this pocket. This is a long developing route on the outside, so Jameis has got to hold this a little bit. He takes the big hit, delivers it, and that's the 3rd big drop that Mike Evans has had today.
So now, with 31 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter, our first punt of the game. Jacob Shump waiting back at his 40. Dwayne Harris deep for the Giants. Fair catch called for by Harris at the 11. So another good stand by the Giants defense following the turnover. 7 field goal attempts today. Kickers a combined 6 for 7, and that was the first punt on either side.
And we shouldn't have even had that one. If Mike Evans does his job and makes the catch, we're moving the chains. We're still out there without a punt. So, boy, it's really, one of the things that happened to Mike Evans, he had the injury early in camp, and, he struggled with his conditioning, hasn't had that opportunity with the hamstring injury. So, I don't know if that's impacting him. Maybe he's not in the right spot mentally, and maybe Odell Beckham Jr. wasn't in the right spot mentally without those gloves, because he's back on the field with him now.
Yes, he is. Giants start from the 11 to hand off to Orleans Darkwa. As time winds down in this 3rd quarter.
Nice tackle by Danny Lansana there. Stood him up. No extra yards after contact on that one.
The Giants led by 8 at the half. Each team with a field goal in the 3rd quarter. So we head to the 4th. Giants looking to maintain control of the NFC East. Buccaneers looking to even their record at 500. We head to the 4th quarter in Tampa. Now keep in mind the Buccaneers have blown a couple of second half leads the last 2 weeks. Giants in 3 of their 4 losses have led in the 4th quarter. Penalty markers on 2nd down.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 93. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Gerald McCoy.
Eli has done a really nice job this afternoon with his cadence. That's the 3rd or 4th neutral zone infraction on the Buccaneers defensive line.
So it is now 2nd down and 1. And he hands it off to Darkwa. And he looks to have the first down across the 21-yard line. Well, the Giants had double-digit leads in the 4th quarter in each of their first 2 games this season against the Cowboys and Falcons. Lost both games. Had the 49-42 lead in New Orleans last week. They've allowed the 2nd most 4th quarter points.
Yeah, I'll take that game last week and kind of take it out of that conversation as Jason Pierre-Paul gets retaped. I really think, you talk to the Giants, they really lost those opportunities in weeks 1 and 2. They really kind of remedied that. I'm going to say that those first 2 kind of fit that thing, but I don't think last week game was a similar scenario to what happened in Dallas and Atlanta.
Here's Darkwa. I agree. Last week the Giants scored 21 points in the 4th quarter, including the defensive touchdown to take the lead.
But it's one of the things that drives Tom Coughlin crazy. You talk about all these things. You talk about finish, and then you struggle. You know, for Tampa Bay, you're coming in here to play me talk about takeaways, and here they are with 2 interceptions today. So the teams work on things that are the obvious things, and when you see them continue to happen, it just gets real frustrating for head coaches.
Second down and 9. Short drop, Manning throws, and the catch is made out across the 25 by the tight end, Will Tye. So the Giants now facing a 3rd down and 5. It's a 1-possession game. Manning and the Giants leading by 8.
One of the things that we saw last week in that game was so much production on 1st and 2nd down. We're really not seeing that here this evening. They've worked for everything they've gotten. Ben McAdoo's offense, it's been the long, hard road. We've had 10-play drives, 11-play drives. Tampa Bay's defense is not making it easy on them.
Giants must get to the 31. Manning rolling right on 3rd down. He throws, and Beckham able to come down with it.
I don't think he pushed far enough to have the yards necessary for a 1st down. No. If it was a catch and contact immediately.
You got to come back to catch the football. Gathered it in with 2 hands and then held on to it with 1. But now, for the first time today, Brad Wing out to punt for the Giants.
Well, if the quarterback position is still an unsettled spot for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Sterling Moore is making a little bit of a statement here this evening because he's played very well.
Sure has. Bobby Rainey, 4th in the league on punt returns, is deep for the Bucs. Low snap, and they blow it dead. Play clock run all the way down.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking the same thing, Coach. I mean, how does that happen? How do you get your punt group out there and have a delay game? I mean, it's just simple little things. It's 5 yards. You may think it's 5 yards, but the big thing, it just drives you crazy because you're not executing.
So Wing now back inside his 10. What a kick. What a kick by Wing. And then Rainey lost the handle, scoops it up at the 12, and will be tackled at the 13. A 64-yard punt by the Aussie.
He's pumped up.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Hyundai, an official sponsor of the NFL. By McDonald's, teaming up with the NFL like never before. And by Sprint.
On Tuesday, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the USAA hosted a military appreciation luncheon at MacDill Air Force Base for more than 200 members of the U.S. Special Operations Command. Buccaneers start from the 13-yard line, and Bobby, it's all Sims breaks free. Sims down the sideline, chased by Trevor Wade, and he finally catches him. So following the 64-yard punt, the Buccaneers pin deep, and Sims takes it all the way down in deep into Giants territory.
This is great patience, great job by the front up ahead. Just bounces around waiting for blocks to happen. There's the opportunity to get him down. You can't make the tackle right there. Splits 2 defenders, then bounces out to the sideline, and he is down the field.
A 59-yard run by Sims to the Giants 28. Empty backfield, Winston on 1st down. Throws, and the catch is made by Evans down at the Giants 10.
He's been dropping the easy ones. It makes a difficult one. Again, we saw this in the first half. It's a staple route in this passing offense, the deep in route. Look at the coverage. Underneath, over the top. Great placement by Jameis Winston.
Remember, the Buccaneers have been held to field goals every time they have penetrated the Giants 20. Martin tried to come to the outside. That first by Merriweather and then Bromley.
Well, good hustle by Jay Bromley because Doug Martin got underneath Brandon Merriweather. He's going to come out if he's not hustling to the point of the tag. Right here. Keep an eye on him. Ball going away. He gets shoved over there. I really think Doug Martin, he's underneath that right now. Good hustle by Jay Bromley.
Second and goal. Bunch formation to the right now. Humphreys in motion to the left and then starts back the other way. Winston's pass could not be handled by Dye.
Good job by Demontre Moore, number 98 here. He's unblocked, gets to the quarterback. He impacts this throw. Boy, again, he's getting down there low. He didn't make any contact. Cannot lunge late.
Third and goal from the 10. Winston on third down. Goes to his right. Looking end zone. Can't find anyone. He dives into the end zone. Touchdown. Jameis Winston.
Well, it's the ultimate game of cat and mouse when you've got a quarterback on the perimeter. It's so hard on the defender. When do you leave your responsibility and make the play on the quarterback? Everybody is covered on this. It's a great job by the Giants secondary. They've got everybody locked down. Now you've got your quarterback on the edge. And look at the Buccaneers. That was a great job. Adam Humphreys had a couple of guys down the field recognizing it's too late now. They just little hip checks, little things to get in the way. On the ball came loose as he crossed in. All scores are reviewed. So he broke the plane. He was a runner going in. So he broke the plane with the football. It's been confirmed touchdown Tampa Bay.
And now, trailing by 2, the Buccaneers will go for 2. Winston moving to his right. And he throws back in the end zone, but he could not come down inbounds. Russell Shepard made the catch, but could not get both feet down. So it remains a 2-point game following the Winston touchdown. Buccaneers could not convert on the 2-point attempt. Third rushing touchdown of the season for Jameis Winston. The big play, the 59-yard run by Charles Sims.
Yeah, a couple of big plays today. You got the 68-yard throw to Mike Evans in the first quarter, 59-yard run there. So Buccaneers with a couple of explosive plays.
Dwight Harris taking it out of the end zone for the Giants. Harris out to the 24. Well, the Buccaneers have certainly had their share of wild finishes over the last couple of weeks. In Washington, they took a 24-0 lead in the first half. Lost by 1, biggest comeback win in Redskins franchise history. And then they led last week's game in Atlanta, 20-3 in the third quarter. Falcons tied it. Buccaneers won in overtime.
Yeah, found out a lot about his group in that game. So, you know, I think you turn the page on a lot of these things. This is a new opportunity for Tampa Bay here this week.
Giants start from the 24-yard line. Manning throws, and coming back to make the catch is Beckham, and he breaks free. So Odell Beckham Jr., who lost the football after he stepped out of bounds, with another big catch, and he takes it all the way to the 48-yard line for a gain of 24.
Sterling Moore has been working predominantly against Odell Beckham Jr. Just a bad angle as he comes back to try and make a play on the ball. But look at the heady play here. It's actually Sterling Moore who knocks that away from Odell Beckham Jr. Good thing that was not in the field of play for the Bucs.
From the 48-yard line on first down, it's Williams who found a hole, and Andre Williams picks up a Giants first down to the Tampa Bay 40. 12 yards, biggest run of the day for the Giants.
Back to the inside, and again, Andre Williams, if you allow him to get those shoulders squared, that's a nice field, runs through the arm tackle of Quan Alexander. he's in the secondary with those big thighs to take down.
From the Buccaneers 41 off the fake to Williams. To the outside to the tight end Cunningham. From Cunningham, brought up from the practice squad this week. The Tampa Bay 37 for a gain of 4. There's an injured Buccaneer. It is William Golston. Clock stops with 8:16 remaining in the fourth. Giants on the move with a 2-point lead.
One of the things that Lovie Smith wanted to make sure was getting back to the New York media and to the Giants players was they were in a real hot spell down here. We had a couple record-breaking highs in the Tampa area through the course of the week, and he wanted to get that message back to New York so these Giants knew what they were in store for coming down here.
Golston helped back onto his feet. We can hear the chants. A lot of Giants fans made the trek down. We see the blue jerseys all around the stadium, cheering on their squad.
I think it's so funny. It's late in the game, and anytime somebody from the opposition goes down, they think they're just trying to stall and take the rhythm out of that offense. But it has been a hot, humid day this afternoon. Those inside defensive linemen logging a bunch of snaps, especially for Tampa Bay. Remember how New York was controlling the clock early in this game.
This will be the 63rd play run by the Giants today. On the delay, it is Williams. Giants have had their offense on the field for just under 30 minutes. Buccaneers just over 22.
That last run, Quan Alexander coming in from the side, could not square up Andre Williams that time from his position, was able to square him up and stop him in his tracks.
3rd down and 3. Marine shifts into the backfield. Giants must get to the 31. As Manning airs it out for Beckham, and he is unable to make the catch.
Just beyond Odell Beckham Jr. Again, coming from that inside position. Just a little release and then straight down the field.
So the Giants send out the field goal unit. This will be a 53-yard attempt. Josh Brown, 2 for 2 today. Wind not a factor. From the right hash, Brown's kick from 53 yards out. Has the distance, it's good.
I tell you, it's a heck of a job by Brad Wing, the holder, because it was a little sloppy, but he got it down.
Brown connects, Giants lead by 5.
Game is sponsored by Visa Checkout, the easier way to pay online. Sign up now.
5-point game in Tampa following the 53-yard field goal by Josh Brown, his 3rd today, 22nd in a row dating back to last season. Bobby Rainey deep for the Bucs. Jameis Winston leads the Buccaneers offense back onto the field. 223 yards in the air and rushing touchdown.
A great effort on the goal line. Charles Sims with a big 59-yard run in that last possession. And Mike Evans with 137 yards, and he's probably left about, 35-40 out there with some big drops during the course of the game.
Jameis Winston, a counselor at the Manning Passing Academy back in the summer of 2014. He said he watched the way that Peyton and Eli carried themselves. We asked Eli about it. He said Jameis always had energy, smiling, upbeat, and he was great coaching the kids who attended the camp. Winston fires downfield. He was looking for Dante Dye.
Always studying, always learning, always wanting to take that next step as a leader. So anytime he's around anybody like that, he's going to be asking questions. And Dante Dye has got a step right here. He kind of runs past Brandon Merriweather, gets on top of Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, and they just miss a connection. Well, that would have been an opportunity for a huge play.
And remember the other thing that Jameis told us. He said, The little kids, the 12-year-olds, they weren't afraid to ask questions. I was. On 2nd and 10. Bucs keep it on the ground with Rainey as we head to Los Angeles for a game break with Kurt.
Well, the Colts lost 17-0 lead against Denver. Evaporated. It was tied at 17 when the former Giant, Ahmad Bradshaw, goes up and over with a reception. 8-yard score. Indy back up by a touchdown early in the 4th. Kenny Moose and Laura.
All right, thanks, Kurt. So the former Giant, Ahmad Bradshaw with the touchdown against Eli's brother on the Broncos. 3rd down and 8. Bucs must get to the 30 for a first down, and they do as Evans makes the catch, and there is a flag. Evans out to the 41-yard line. Gain of 18.
Well, he's been working at it all day. He's been close a couple of times. Jason Pierre-Paul on that last rush almost got home to Jameis Winston.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 31. Penalties decline. Yardage is enough for a first down.
Jason Pierre-Paul right here working against Donovan Smith. Goes to the inside this time, splits Logan Mankins and Donovan Smith just a little bit late.
After the fake toss, Winston again under pressure, gets rid of it, finds Humphries. Humphries up the sideline to the 48 for a gain of 7.
He's become a real nice, reliable guy. As you pointed out, we've got some injuries with Vincent Jackson out. Lewis Murphy III is on IR. Adam Humphries has stepped in here, becoming a nice little option for this offense. Has made some nice catches this afternoon.
Rookie out of Clemson, his 5th catch today, doubling his season total. On the delay, it's Sims into Giants territory. And Charles Sims picks up a first down. We are under 6 minutes remaining in Tampa. Giants leading the Buccaneers by 5.
As soon as one team seems like they've got the momentum and maybe establishing a little bit of control in the game, the opposition comes out and sends a message right back to them. This 4th quarter has just been back and forth between both these teams.
Buccaneers last led at 6-3 in the 1st quarter. Giants' biggest lead was 11 early in the 3rd as Winston fires downfield out of bounds. Sims was shoved, but he was already out of bounds when he was shoved by Casillas.
And Jason Pierre-Paul is getting closer and closer. We didn't see a lot of snaps from him in that 3rd quarter. The plan was to make sure he was rested for the 4th quarter. Boy, he's getting close.
No sacks in the game on either side.
We got to compliment Donovan Smith. He's done a heck of a job out there going up against Jason Pierre-Paul. Most of the afternoon, one-on-one. Rookie left tackle for the Buccaneers.
2nd down and 10, and a timeout is taken by the Bucs with the play clock winding down. So Tampa Bay uses their 2nd timeout. Hey, football fans, if you love winning teams, check out the hilarious new comedies on Fox, Grandfathered with John Stamos and The Grinder with Rob Lowe. Fresh, fun, and they bring big league laughs. It's all new Tuesday on Fox.
Marcus Paul is co-captain of mine when we were at Syracuse University. He's the assistant strength coach, and he was talking with Eric Flowers, the left tackle for the New York Giants, who had to face Jason Pierre-Paul against the scout team all week, and he was just blown away by how quick he was. He's got that strength that you don't think he's going to have because of the frame and style of his body. And for Donovan Smith to come in today and hold up as well as he's had one-on-one, because that was one of the things we talked about. Boy, that's going to be tough with all the emotion around Jason Pierre-Paul's return here this afternoon.
2nd down and 10. Winston rolling right, and the pass incomplete. He was looking for Evans.
I think it was a good plan by the Giants. During the course of the game, they were going to monitor his snaps, but we did see him a lot in that 1st half, and then all of a sudden he wasn't in as much in the 3rd quarter, and now here we are in the 4th with the game on the line, and he is getting closer and closer and closer each time.
Giants must get to the 39. Winston fires and complete. Again looking for Evans.
Mike Evans on the outside. Good job by J-Ron Hosley. Gets the jam. We've seen a lot of free releases. Mike Evans says he went up to the helmet area. Might have got some hands on the face. And again, there's another hit on the quarterback. So Giants getting close multiple times in that series.
Shump back to punt for the second time. Harris deep for the Giants. End over end. Harris lets it go. And it bounces into the end zone for a touchback with just under 5 minutes remaining in Tampa. Giants by 5. Under 5 minutes to play in Tampa. Kenny Albert, Darrell Johnston, Laura Oakman. Giants with the football, leading by 5. Buccaneers have only one timeout remaining. Harris, the motion man. On first down, Rashad Jennings. Gain of 4 as the Giants will try and use as much clock as possible.
Tom Coughlin always talks about complementary football, all three phases working together. The defense gets the big stop. Dwayne Harris makes the right decision, allows the ball to hit, goes into the end zone. They get the ball at the 20. Now can this offense come out and take the time off of this clock, not allow Jameis Winston the opportunity to come back and get another last-second victory?
Now the Giants protect the lead. Second down and 6. Manning looking for Harris. So the clock stops at 4:14. It will be third down and 6.
Got an incomplete pass. It stops the clock. You mentioned where they are from a timeout situation with some issues during the course of the second half here with the clock running down and having to burn a couple of timeouts. And you just handed the Buccaneers a big favor right there.
Beckham in motion, third down and 6. Giants must get to the 30. Manning on third down, throws, and it is Beckham who makes the catch for the Giants first down at the 33.
I tell you, that is tremendous confidence in Sterling Moore, and he's in good position in the coverage. Just a straight man-to-man defense, one-on-one, down low. Look at Odell Beckham Jr. go down and get that ball and keep it from hitting the ground. We've seen spectacular catches up in the air from Odell Beckham Jr., but he shows he can also dig one off the ground. That was impressive with everything on the line the way it was there.
Beckham has hit the 100-yard mark with 9 receptions. On first down, it is Shane Vereen to the 36, and a flag is thrown.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 97. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic first down.
Yeah.
That's on Aaron Spence, another huge Tampa Bay penalty.
Yeah, Lovie Smith is asking for Akeem Spence to get off the field right now. Here he comes, right here. I mean, it's an emotional game. We see it week in and week out, but you have to be able to maintain your emotion. You can't give up 15 free yards like that. No, there's no reason. You have no defense in that situation. Lovie Smith wanted him off the field immediately.
First and 10 in Tampa Bay territory from the 49. This is Jennings. And Rashad Jennings is just shy of another first down. He gains 9. By the way, with his last reception, Beckham becomes the fastest player in history to reach 150 career receptions in his 21st game. The previous record holder, Anquan Boldin, it took him 25.
Well, it started off as a battle of field goals early on in this game. And then we finally had the breakthrough. Eli Manning finding Ruben Randall uncovered in the corner of the end zone. And then Shane Vereen, real nice feel on that zone coverage. The Giants were controlling the game early on at 17-6. That's just a tremendous effort on 3rd and 10 by Jameis Winston. They missed the 2-point conversion right here. Great effort by Russell Shepard. Elevates way up there, but he's just not able to bring it down. Inbounds.
So the Buccaneers use their final timeout. 2nd down and 1 for the Giants. Jennings picks up the first. Buccaneers cannot stop the clock.
We've seen this in spurts during the course of the game, but all 4 of the Giants running backs, when you're going inside, they've been having their most success between the tackles. Rashad Jennings, Andre Williams, Orleans Darkwa, just kind of physical downhill running styles. There you go. That's a running back by committee right there. That's a great example of it.
Giants take the play clock, go all the way down. This is Jennings. And now the Giants will let it run all the way to the 2-minute warning. Giants are in field goal range. If they do not pick up a first down, a 4th down play would come at around 30 seconds on the clock. So 2 minutes to play here in Tampa with Jameis Winston and the Bucs trailing the Giants by 5.
Today's game is sponsored by T-Mobile. Ditch your carrier and switch to the Un-carrier.
New York Giants with a 5-point lead here in Tampa. Buccaneers out of timeouts. 2 minutes remaining. 2nd down and 10. It's Jennings. Jennings all the way down to the 25-yard line. Gain of 8.
Well, one of the big plays on this drive by the Giants was the personal foul on Akeem Spence, and Jameis Winston is over there talking to him right now. Whether it was last week with Quan Alexander going through the loss of his brother, Akeem Spence making a critical mistake on a drive that could seal this game for the New York Giants. He has natural leadership qualities. They're expected at the quarterback position, but sometimes they're not always there, and a lot of these guys say there's a big difference between playing for you as opposed to with you. And Jameis is winning over this locker room because they all want to play for him. There's a great example of why.
Big play here, 3rd down. If the Giants are held to a field goal, it's still a 1-possession game. And the Giants call timeout.
New York
the play clock winding down.
It'll be a 30-second timeout.
Not exactly what the Giants had in mind, stopping the clock at 1:10.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's yeah, sometimes, you know, inexplainable sometimes, Kenny.
7 made field goals in the game. 41 plays for Jason Pierre-Paul. Giants scoring 10 points off 2 Tampa Bay turnovers. It is 3rd down and 2. Giants use a timeout, stop the clock at 1:11. If they pick up a first down, they'll be able to run it out. On the 25 on 3rd down, it's Jennings, and he is stopped. So the clock will run. Buccaneers without a timeout.
Well, in a situation like this, you have to control the line of scrimmage. Look at the penetration up the field. Gerald McCoy blowing by his guy. Henry Melton is in the backfield. Linebackers coming in on that 2nd level, stuffing that run. Actually lost some yards.
Now the Giants letting the clock run down. Prior to the 4th down play. And now the Giants will send out the field goal unit. Try and extend to a 8-point lead, it would still be a one-possession game.
Well, we had the crazy finish last week in New Orleans on a special teams play. You think we got another crazy play in special teams coming this week, Kenny?
Well, how about Jason Pierre-Paul making his return?
And I thought it was handled very well. I'm sure he's going to be able to find a lot of areas that he wants to improve in, but he was really tough down the stretch. His best play came in the fourth quarter. They kind of rested him a little bit in that third quarter, and he was raring to go in the fourth.
This a 44-yard attempt from the left hash. Brown's kick is good. So the Giants lead by 8 with 23 seconds remaining. When they called that timeout, they gave the Bucs 1 or 2 extra seconds.
Nice clean snap hold mechanics there. On the previous field goal, we saw some sloppy mechanics there. Brad Wing was able to get the ball down on that one. This one clean as a whistle. Pressure in from the outside, Sterling Moore. Brad Wing wanted running into the kicker because he didn't allow him to stand.
So the week after, the Giants and Saints combined for 101 points and set a record with 13 passing touchdowns. Today, the Giants and the Buccaneers combined to kick 8 field goals. That's one shy of the league record.
We just missed it, Kenny.
And we did have
had a miss.
One miss.
Yeah. Doggone it.
But the league record for successful field goals in one game is 9.
Well, here we go again. We talked about Marcus Murphy in the punt return last week for the New Orleans Saints at the end of the game. How many times have we heard Lovie Smith sing the praises of Bobby Rainey as a return man? And how concerned was Tom Coughlin in the special teams matchup coming into this game?
Bobby Rainey, one of the first names he brought up when we asked him about the matchup with the Buccaneers. Rainey's longest return this season is 38 yards.
And it's returnable.
Rainey from 4 yards deep. There is a flag. Rainey down just shy of the 15.
Well, we've talked about him as a stout running back during the course of the game today. Andre Williams, the first guy down there.
Return team number 50. Penalties half the distance to the goal line. First down, Tampa.
That's Bruce Carter. So now the Buccaneers, they need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. They are out of timeouts. And they have only 18 seconds on the clock. So the ball will be spotted back at the 6.
Giants will be protecting the sidelines. They're going to force balls into the middle of the field to keep that clock going.
Buccaneers must go 94 yards in 18 seconds. Winston from the end zone. Another drop by Evans.
Well, that's your hook and ladder play. On the outside, you've got Charles Sims coming around, and we're going to catch this, and we're going to pitch it to him and see if we can catch him sleeping a little bit. But first, we've got to catch it.
Down to 13 seconds on the clock, 2nd and 10. Winston again from the end zone, hits Sims out of the backfield. Sims gets it back to Evans. Off the hands of Logan Mankins and taken in for a touchdown by Trevin Wade. The Giants score a defensive touchdown for the 3rd straight game as time expires.
Well, you're just in a dire straits right here, and you're just trying anything. Charles Sims is on the outside. Mike Evans backs up. Now you're trying to get it across the field, hoping that you've got more open area over there, asking a lot of your left guard.
The ruling on the field was that the pass was backwards. Therefore, that ball is able to be recovered and advanced. The touchdown is good. We will attempt to try at this time.
So they'll clear the field so the Giants can attempt the extra point. Trevin Wade takes it in. You won't score an easier touchdown than that.
No. And what a stumbling block for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this has been in Lovie Smith's tenure. They've had opportunities to get back-to-back win streaks going. And that's kind of the next thing on his agenda, to get this thing turned around. I think, the players are buying in. It was a great victory last week, coming off that just devastating loss to the Redskins. Lovie Smith called it the toughest regular season loss of his career. It was hard to come back into work, and he gets his team ready. They come out, they win in Atlanta, divisional game on the road. He wants them to take that next step, and it's an opportunity here at home to finally get back-to-back victories. You've got to be able to sustain if you're going to be meaningful during the course of the season, and they just can't get over that last hurdle.
First career touchdown for Trevin Wade. Giants take a knee. And for Eli Manning, his 96th career regular season victory. That's a new franchise record, surpassing Phil Simms. So Manning and the Giants go to 5-4. Buccaneers drop to 3-5. Tampa Bay home for Dallas next week, while the Giants will host New England. We will return to Tampa right after these messages.